How do you like your journey so far? I like it. Out of all the colleges, this was like the most accessible one. My name is Samantha Sturkey. I'm a freshman, and I am an ambassador on campus along with the women's basketball team manager. Spina bifida is a birth defect where the spine doesn't develop properly. It's normally found within during the 20-week ultrasound. There isn't any cure for it. So basically being an ambassador on campus, the campus is pretty accessible to begin with, but for certain things like going upstairs in Dixon and stuff like that, they just allow me just to explain because obviously I can't have, a huge family getting on an elevator with me. With basketball, there isn't much accommodations needed, but there are certain things, sometimes the clock will be plugged in on the other side of the court, and sometimes the girls don't like when I'm on the other side, so they'll pull up the table for me and then they'll set up the clock on the other side. So I've never had discrimination within the workplace, but I have experienced discrimination within schooling and stuff like that. For my high school graduation, they said that they didn't have a ramp and they wanted me to just have my diploma walk down to me, and that's not feasible. It's high school graduation. It's something that's important, and it wasn't right for them to just automatically assume that, oh, we don't have a ramp, we'll just walk down your diploma to you.
Just as there are opportunities for employment, there are many barriers to employment. And the question is, again, regarding people with disabilities. I have learned and experienced that it's different. It depends on what each individual needs to define what are barriers to employment. In the recruiting stage, there are times where people share their differences in advance, and unfortunately there are times where the hiring manager considers that a risk or doesn't have the resources or an HR to really support them to understand how to make that accommodation.
The unemployment rate for people with disabilities is more than double that of those without, 9% compared to 4.4% as of September. People with disabilities are also far less likely to be employed than workers with no disabilities.
I had an experience hiring an individual who was a member of the deaf community for a dishwashing job.
About 1 in 4 people with a disability will face at least one incident of discrimination every day.
I'm grateful that I was in a position in HR to help the hiring manager understand how to make it work. Some people come of the mind, if they haven't been in a situation or have had the opportunity to make alternate arrangements or to accommodate new people into the team, they start to think of why not? Well, who will hear the fire alarm? Well, the fire alarm has a flashing light. Then there's someone else in the kitchen with them.
I know some are well, you have to have an education, a college education, for small jobs. And some people who have disabilities don't have the opportunity to go to college. So looking for people who have disabilities might be a good way to incorporate them, because they might not necessarily, have those requirements, but at the end of the day, they are probably really good at the job that can be done.
American employers are obligated to follow the ADA regulations and the laws to protect employees with disabilities. The most impactful thing would be that you would miss out on having an awesome employee working with an organization because you didn't build a foundation to make it inclusive or ready for them to bring their talents in.
Stopping misconceptions about things, So if, someone says something that is false about a disability, you could just be like, hey, that's actually not true. This is actually, what it is. And even you see someone staring, you could be like, just go ask questions, or, don't just stare at them.